Hello everybody, this is Prowl, and I'm here to talk to you today about Last Epoch and the different categories of skills and how they all work and respecking and how you earn them and what the penalties are for all of those different things that you may not know or be a little confused about or maybe just don't know every little detail about. We're going to go over them today so that way you better understand how to get started in Last Epoch and progress your character. First thing we're going to talk about today is your base class. Your base class is what you will start out at in the game, and you will stay until you reach a certain point in the storyline, which occurs as you're getting close to level 20, depending on how fast you push through the story. When you are your base class, in this case I have a mage here that is only at its base class level, you'll have access and gain access to the base class abilities as you level up. Also, as you level up, you will earn access to your passive abilities. The keyboard shortcut for these, in case you're wondering, P will pull up your passive skills, whereas S will pull up your active skills and specializations. So as you level, you'll gain points that you put in your passive skill tree. You can assign these however you want up to this line. This line moves as you spend points further up the line, allowing you to take different passive skills and even earn different active skills that are based off of that base class. You also gain the ability to specialize in your active skills. So the skills that are on this page can all be put in your specialization slots. We'll talk a little bit more about this later, but that's how you increase the power of those skills. Now, as you get close to level 20, you'll be able to pick your mastery class, your ascension. All of these different classes will have different mastery classes that are available to them. By this point, you will have probably already looked at what those are and have a decent idea of which one you would like to go into. But maybe you don't. Maybe you decided you just want to be a sentinel and you're not quite sure which one of these masteries is best for you. Well, here on my higher level character here, I have selected the Void Knight, and anytime, even while you're just at a base class, you can take a little bit better look inside of the skill tree here and see the different skills that are available for each mastery, which can help you decide even better which one you want to go with. Same thing for the passive skills. You can look at all of the passive skill trees to again help you decide which one you want to go with even more. And you can even click on any of these active skills here and take a look at those skill trees, more on this a little bit later too, to see if there's any particular class fantasies or powers or abilities that you really like to help you pick your mastery class. Now, once you do pick your mastery class, keep in mind that decision is final. Once you've chosen your mastery, you cannot then change to a different mastery, but there are ways that you can kind of mix and match and be a kind of hybrid class even though you have a mastery selected. I can be a Void Knight, but also have some things of the Paladin as an example. Doesn't mean that you may or may not want to do that, but just know that it's possible. Essentially how it works is once you have like ascended and you've selected your mastery class, you will then gain access to put points in that passive skill tree. But you can't do it until you've put 20 points in the base class skill tree. So that may mean that you want to just stop at 20 points exactly, or maybe there's passive skills further up here that you really want to get a hold of, and you can spend more here too. Also, even though I've selected Void Knight as my mastery class, I can still put points in Forge Guard. I can still put points in Paladin. The limitation is that you see this chain on the Paladin and on the Forge Guard. I cannot put points that go beyond this point right here. Once I get to this point, I can't then add more points to Paladin or Forge Guard if I've selected Void Knight, whereas Void Knight, I can go down the whole tree. This essentially allows you to play a somewhat like mixed style with your classes if you want to, or you could just grab a couple points you may find useful. Maybe you're going sword and board with your Void Knight, and there's some good defensive skills here for Paladin. You may want to, oops, I shouldn't have clicked those. I accidentally spent those points, but we'll unspec those later. I'll show you guys how that works here in a little bit. But as you spend points in any of these trees, you will earn the skills associated with that tier that you get to. So my Void Knight, I've progressed all the way down, meaning I've earned all of these skills you see down here. If I spent the points in Paladin, I would earn Healing Hands and Sigils of Hope, but I cannot earn Judgment. Same with Forge Guard, I cannot earn Ring of Shields and Smelter's Wrath if I'm not a Forge Guard. Now, these skills can be despecialized, which I'm about to do right now, assuming I have the gold for it. I'm going to respecialize my mastery points, and I can go down here to Paladin and I can select this and click respec 1 point. You see there is a minor gold charge for it, only 100, not a lot. Same for this, 100 gold, not a lot. As you get later on and you get higher level skills, you have more points spent in your tree. I'm not sure exactly what the factor is that it scales up by, but it can cost a little bit more. But at no point I've ever seen or heard of it being a big detriment. The only time it's really going to get in your way is really early game. If you're spending all of your gold to buy shattering runes, at that point you may be a little point starved, and respecking a whole lot may be trouble. But as you can see, the costs aren't that much, so odds are you'll probably be fine. Now the same thing goes with our skills here. So as you can see, Void Knight, I have all of these unlocked because I've spent all the passive points, meaning I can now use any of these skills. Now I want you to understand the difference between having a skill, putting the skill on your hotbar down here, and actually specializing in the skill, because they're slightly different things. You can take any skill that you earn at any point and put it down your hotbar and use it. Again, you have to have unlocked it, but once you've unlocked it, you can use it. But to actually make that skill more powerful, you have to specialize in it, and you earn these specialization slots as you level. The last one comes in at level 50. So as you level up and you unlock these specialization slots, you're going to want to pop in the skills that you want to use the most. And hopefully you've pre-planned this, but don't worry, you can re-specialize, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit too. But as I put a skill, in this case I have Warpath that I've dropped in this slot, you put it in here, you can see that my skill in Warpath right now is level 17. It's actually level 16, and I have +1 point assigned to it. And it opens up and shows me this big skill tree. If you've never looked at this before, your first time seeing it, it's going to be a little bit confusing. But once you kind of understand how it works and flows, it's actually not that bad. It actually makes a lot of sense in terms of how it works. So more on that in just a second. But first, how do you get to this point where you have all these skill points to spend? Well, whenever you put a skill in your specialization, as you gain XP, so does the skill, and you level that skill up. It doesn't one-for-one level with you as your character. It levels at its own pace, which is actually really good in the way that that works, because as you unlock these different skills going down, for example, when you unlock your 5th skill slot and you put a skill in there, it's actually going to level kind of fast because the XP you're getting is a lot higher because you're fighting higher level mobs. So you'll go through those first few levels rather quickly. And you'll get caught up. As you can see, I just earned this skill not that long ago, and it's already at level 14, whereas all my other ones are at level 16. So as you gain those skill points, you spend them in the skill tree. This is where using a build planner can really help. You can either copy a build that others have already done and basically build off of what other people have already researched and know works, or you can make your own build pretty easily in Last Epoch as well. All you got to do is just pay attention to the path that you're going. I'm a Void Knight, so I know that generally speaking, I want skills that are going to use void-based magic. So even though Warpath is not a Void Knight skill, it is a Sentinel skill, you'll see they have a void path built in here. They'll actually have paths for a lot of different things. You'll have a path that's going to fit more in the paladin realm of things. You'll have a path that'll fit a little bit more in the forge guard realm of things, and you'll have another path that will more generically work across the board for a lot of different things. Now, you're not locked to going in that path. As you can see here, I have gone largely that way with a lot of my points spent in Void, but I'm also spending points down here that are making me do more damage, and over here that's making my Warpath channeling cost less mana. So you could mix and match and do anything you want, but usually you're going to want to have some level of cohesion, some level of synergy as you go. I'm synergizing Warpath around doing void damage here. I'm synergizing around echoes and time rot. And then as I go through and spend points in my different skills, I'm trying to build everything together towards the same thing. I want everything to build up echoing and time rot and these little void rifts as much as possible. So the skill points I spend here and the skill points I spend in here are all kind of going towards building all of that up together to make those skills that I'm using as powerful as possible. Now, you may not have enough knowledge to know exactly what you want, or you just haven't experienced it yet. There's a lot of things that you're going to try out in the game. It sounds good when you read what it is. Like I started out with a Rive build, which was okay. but it wasn't as fun as I thought it would be. So what did I do? I just respect, and respecking is actually incredibly easy here too. You don't have to go to the vendor to respec your specializations points. You just click on respec, despecialize skill, or remove points. If you despecialize skill, it takes this skill off of your tree, refunding all of its points, and then you can pull up and specialize a different skill in that slot instead. Or if you click on remove points, I could click on this, and any of these that I click on, it will remove just those individual points. Now, when you remove a point, you don't just automatically get that point to respend. This is your penalty for respecking. It's not a big one. You're just going to have to gain that level again. So like if I were to despecialize a point in lunge, it's going to bring me down to level 15. I will then have to level it back up from 15 to 16 again. But anytime you despecialize and you go down a level, I believe in all cases you get bonus XP to catch you back up to the level that you were at. So that's good. Also, if you despecialize an entire skill, it does remove all of those levels of that skill. And then when you pull a new skill in, it doesn't luckily start at level 1. It starts at a minimum level. As you level up and level up your skills, you will increase the minimum level that your skills will get inserted at. I don't know what that is at its highest. Maybe somebody will comment down below and you guys can search the comments and see. But I know for me right now it's level 5. Like if I took out Rive and I decided to go with multi-strike instead, multi-strike for me is going to start at level 5. So I'll by default have 5 points that I can spend right away. And then since it's under level compared to everything else, it will level up faster and catch up to my other skills rather quickly. So I'll be able to quickly put more and more points in it to catch myself back up. So you have a little bit of a penalty, but it's really not that bad. It feels like a really good balance. It penalizes you a little bit, but not so much to where you don't feel like unspecializing points. So my advice to you is experiment around a lot, especially early on, but really anytime. Don't be afraid to remove points, switch points around, or try a whole new skill at some point. You especially want to do this before you reach the very end game, when you start adding in gear that you're going to use to build up specific skills. So definitely play around. Feel free to do so. That's something they've given you to do in Last Epoch. They've made it kind of easy to do it. So use it. A couple other little things I want to point out. It's just existed in both the passive and the active tree. You see these two little dots right here, little dot right here, 4 dots right here. What that means is that's a minimum number of points you have to spend to get up to that next level. So for me to get either one of these two skills right here, I have to have spent 2 points in this skill right here. You can see I've spent 5 points here. I needed 4 to be able to unlock this. Same thing on your active skill tree. You'll see that a lot of these, like I only have to spend 1 point. I have to spend 2 points, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. Some of them will be more. If I look at Rebuke, for example, this took 3 points to get up to here. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're like planning out how and when you're going to be spending your points, that you're going to have to spend points in a certain order in some cases to unlock the particular skill that you want to get to. And I think for the most part that like goes over everything for you guys. Basically, I just want to like circle back around to synergizing your skills. It can be a little hard to do that from this screen. So one of my recommendations to you is going to be use something like I have right here, a build planner. There's a few different ones out there. I like this one from lastepochtools.com. There's also ones that you can get through Maxroll and a couple other ones that I've seen too. Use whichever one you find that you like the best. But essentially you can pull up your skill tree here, and now you can start swapping points around and seeing how things look and kind of see where your end path is going to be. So once you kind of learn a little bit about the skills and what you like, you may want to make one of these build planners and start placing points around to see where you want to go, and then change as you go, right? Like I'm kind of thinking that if I take level 5 of Warrior's Fury, that I'm going to be spending too much mana, and I'm going to mana starve myself and not be able to keep up my spending warpath. So I may end up actually taking a couple points out of here and putting them somewhere else. I don't even know where those are going to go yet, but I know it's something I'm kind of thinking in my head, and it just helps you plan your character a little bit better as you play the game. You could do it with the active skills. You could do it with the passive skills. You could do it with other things as well. Equipment, idols, you name it. You could do all of those things here. I haven't even started speccing equipment yet because I kind of wanted to get to the point where I felt like my character was good first. I like my skills. I got those leveled up. I start learning a little bit more about how the equipment works, the crafting works, the different tiers of gear, etc. And maybe I'll do a video on the crafting. If I feel like I'm comfortable enough to do that yet, and I can give you guys good, accurate information, I'll probably put one of those out pretty soon. But yeah, you can do everything through the build planner here, and that's just going to help you once you get to your actually doing things in game. You spend a little bit less time poking around and unspecking, respecking when you maybe didn't need to do that. Also, a couple final notes. They have like so many like really good built-in tools into the game. So things like holding down the Alt button over a skill. You can see I can hover over Warpath here. If I hold down Alt, it'll give me additional information about it. Any skills that have additional information to give, like this one with the Echo Knight skill. If I hold down Alt, it'll tell me the Echo effect only works if you are a Void Knight. So if I tried to spec down through here as a Paladin, but I was maybe going with a more like hybrid build, I probably wouldn't want to go down here because I'm not going to get the Echo, right? So it'll kind of give you little tool tips when there's some available. Also, there's a really nice search up here too. So I can just search Void, and then I can see anything that has anything to do with Void. Or maybe I want one that has to do with mana. I can see, okay, I have this one for mana, significantly reduces cost. This one raises mana cost. This one over here, make smite consume mana. So there's different things that you can search for. It makes it way easy to like go in, and I can see maybe I want to consider using multi-strike. I can go in here and type in Void and see what kind of synergies with Void based skills that there are. Looks like there's maybe only one right here. And then if there's anything else I was curious about, maybe I wanted to focus on crit, I can see if any of them focus on crit, which this one right here does. So it makes it a little bit easier to kind of find what you're looking for and build the way that you want to build. So hopefully this little conversation helped you guys out. If you learned something new, let me know down below. If I like happen to have misspoke on anything, or maybe didn't elaborate on something well enough and you're pretty knowledgeable about the game, drop a comment down below and add in that extra context or extra tips or tricks or whatever that you want people that are watching this video to know. I do appreciate the help. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button to help it get seen by more people. And also consider subscribing if you've been liking these videos or you want to catch me live. I live stream here on YouTube and also on Twitch at Prowl-8413. I will be live at game launch, which is coming up in just 2 days from at the time of this recording, or 3 days from the time of this recording. I will also have Twitch drops available for Last Epoch. So if you watch on Twitch, you can earn free skins and cosmetics and things like that. So make sure that you watch over on Twitch. Thank you so much for watching this here today, and I'll see you later.